Joy Boy, Gold Roger, or Monkey D. Luffy. All of these characters are absolutely legendary, the strongest of each of their time periods. And sure, they may be the best, but are they the ultimate One Piece characters? Nah, I don't really think so. They are weak, cowardly fools compared to the actual ultimate One Piece character out there. My totally original, do not steal pirate captain capable of defeating the strongest pirates, mastering all types of haki, and might even be able to destroy the entire One Piece planet with his raw power as well. So, who is this mysterious pirate captain and where does he actually come from? Well, to answer all of these questions, we have to travel 20,000 leagues under the sea to the world famous Fishman Islands. Also, please don't come to me about the title of that book being a measure of distance traveled and not the actual. Just let me have my joke, please. Okay, thank you. Anyways, he's making his home in a small crack between the Sunlight Tree Eve's roots, which is very fitting for him considering the monstrosity of a creature that he actually is. Allow me to introduce you to the dreaded pirate captain, Robo D. Suta, named after the Japanese word robsta, which, as you probably guessed, means lobster. And this guy, he is my main man, or I guess more accurately, my main lobster. He's got a strong shell and an even stronger will to adventure. He wears a very slick mustache, aviator sunglasses, and a sweater vest as well. But don't take his funny appearance lightly because he's actually destined to be king of not just the pirates, but the world. His main goal is to destroy Marijua and return to his homeland, the top of the Grand Line. Oh, yeah, did I forget to mention that he's actually half Lunarian? Boom! Check out those wings that he's got. Now, he tends to keep his wings hidden usually inside the folds of his shell as he was forced into hiding using his water-breathing powers at a young age. When our dude here hits the battlefield, he's an absolute angelic nightmare. And that's actually why the entire world knows him as the infamous Claw of God. And now we've actually entered his story at a really wonderful time because he's finally got everything that he needs in order to start his holy crusade. His good friend over at the Revolutionary Army, Monkey D. Dragon, was able to hook him up with some sort of experimental technology from the Dr. Vegapunk. You see, Suta and Dragon actually have a competitive underground Yahtzee league that they run on Thursday nights on a remote island hidden within the Grand Line. And so anyways, after rolling a couple of dice, Dragon revealed that he was able to get his hands on a weapon that could be attached to Suta here. And this weapon enables him to steal Devil Fruit powers from an already existing Devil Fruit user, copying their bloodline elements and merging the power into their own pool of artificial green blood. Something that, if you're interested, we learned about in Egghead Island. Now, he would just have to undergo surgery for about 3 months, but when he comes out of that surgery, he'll be kind of like Blackbeard, but way better because he'll just have as many Devil Fruit abilities as he could possibly want. And this surgery just wrapped up. How convenient for this video. And this weapon is attached to his big claw now, and it's pretty rad looking if you ask me. But the real kicker is that now that he's a cyborg, he'll actually be able to infuse each Devil Fruit into a different mechanical body part of his, eventually turning into a massive lobster angel robot mech suit of pure destruction. You know, kind of like this thing from the Power Rangers. Now, all that he has to do is hunt down a bunch of pirates so that he can destroy the Holy Land. So he swims up to the surface and finds his very first Devil Fruit before even making it all the way up there. You see, he was swimming into the New World for quite a while, but luckily he came across this really angry looking sunken ship off the coast of Elbaf, and drowning, but still hanging in there for his dear life, was a red-haired pirate. No, not Shanks, a different red-haired pirate, useless Captain Mitt. He must have just made some sort of poor choice because he had a massive cut in his chest and was about to die anyway. So Suta just quickly absorbed his blood that was kind of floating around in the ocean and then infused it into his cheat piece. And then in a mighty anime style transformation sequence, out of his massive bag of spare parts, the chest piece clung to him and he gained the mighty Jiki Jiki no Mi breastplate. And this was actually the best case scenario because because with this power, he'll now be able to control all of the other cyborg parts remotely and thus make his life way easier. On top of that, he also gains all of the insane powers of magnetism, which, hey, can just be really helpful in general. I mean, controlling a force like that will surely become broken as hell combined with all of the other insane powers that he'll still get. And oh wait, it's actually just dawning on me that his name is Robo di Suta, and he is literally making himself the ultimate Robo suit as well. I just named him after the Japanese word for lobster, but this turned out really great in the process of filming this. But there's no time to celebrate this as he immediately sinks to the bottom of the ocean. Sorry, dude, I can't change the rules of the entire One Piece world for you. You just can't swim anymore. But that doesn't matter. You think that I, Manu D. Ohara, would create the ultimate One Piece character and not account for this insane, most obvious of all weaknesses? Come on, have some faith in me, guys, because that's why he is a fishman. Just like Jack, he cannot drown, and since it's technically his robot suit that can't swim, he can just lug it around by force. Yes, unfortunately, he's now gonna have to walk up to the coast of Elbaf real slowly, but once he actually gets to the surface there, he'll see his good friend Red Hair Shanks. You see, those two actually play Scrabble twice a month at a bar on Elbaf, so after he explains his big plan to Shanks, he asks to borrow a small boat. Now, Shanks is absolutely shocked because his plan is way easier than all of the scheming that he's been doing behind the scenes all these years. So he ends up agreeing and gives him a small one-man boat, some supplies, and a very nice book for his journey. This book is called How to Get Hockey Man Level Hockey in 5 Easy Steps by Red Hair Shanks. Nice, that's pretty sick, and it's a pre-release signed copy as well. I mean, with this on slow days of sailing, Suta can now become a hockey machine, rivaling that of Shanks himself. And so after finally setting sail and doing all of his crazy hockey lessons, Suta finds a small patch of land near Winter Island. Here he finds this dude in a silly hat being cared for by a polar bear. He seems super stressed and wasn't paying attention at all. I'm talking super vulnerable, if you get my drift. And so without any hesitation, he just vice grips Bippo, cleaving him in half, and then just absorbs Trafalgar Law's Ope Ope no Mi. Then suddenly, using his magnet powers, he grabs an arm from his big bag of spare parts, I totally mentioned that earlier, and infuses this fruit into the arm. And with that, he has now gained access to the Ope Ope no left arm, a broken armor piece that just boosts his strength immensely to a ridiculous level. Now with this fruit arm combo, he can create rooms just like Law, gaining a whole slew of new support powers. I'm talking teleportation, I'm talking body switching, I'm talking slicing opponents in half, and he also gets to yell out "room" every time, which is probably the coolest part of it all if we're really honest. And since this power is infused in the arm itself, he can even launch his arm and control it with the magnetism powers, activating his room at a distance without a Devil Fruit awakening. I mean, man, if only Kid and Law were this strong together, they'd actually be decently useful, I think. Okay, all jokes aside though, with these new insane powers, Robo di Suta is already becoming a really busted character, but this is still far from being broken, I think we can all agree, and nowhere near ultimate. No. By the end of this video, his final powers will make him a walking calamity, or I guess a sailing and flying calamity. You get it. He'll break the world. He can't swim anymore. That's the only thing, which conveniently is the theme of this very next power. You see, while he was in that area, he came across the Scoundrels of the Sea, the most evil pirates around, the Blackbeard pirates. They also land on the island searching for Law, and what do they find? A cut in half polar bear with his guts out everywhere, an unconscious doctor, and a mecha lobster. Now, needless to say, they are at least a little bit surprised, but Suta explains the situation and has no problem at all just tossing them Law, but he does keep his super rad cursed blade, the Kikoku. Now Blackbeard is totally chill with things, honestly, and after talking for a little bit, they kind of really hit it off. After that, they just set up camp and started drinking and partying late into the night. Suta was obviously drinking his favorite drink, a Shirley Temple, and then had the very bright idea to ask Blackbeard to gamble. They bet on a game, and if Blackbeard won, Suta would give him Law's sword, but if Suta won, he would get to copy Blackbeard. Now, he and his crew thought long and hard about things, and after talking it over, they did end up agreeing. On the one condition that he would only agree to it if our Mecha Lobster Angel here would promise not to go for the One Piece. Because I mean, if there's one thing that we all know, it's that Marshall D. Teach is a true man of his word and a very honest pirate with only good ethics and morals. Now, Suta here could honestly care less about those weird poneglyphs and the One Piece wealth, fame, power. Who needs a mysterious treasure for that when you can just become a mecha robot god all by yourself instead? And so he and Blackbeard finally square off. They set up a barrel and sit down for the most intense showdown. Then Augur delicately sets the stage for the duel, and then the two face each other down in the most legendary game, Jenga. Piece by piece, they start thinning out the little tower here. A stealthy slide, a bold push, and a nearly fatal brick pull from right in the middle. But unfortunately for Teach, the overwhelming power of the Gura Gura no Mi is really bad for a game where the whole goal is to, well, not destroy a building. And he does end up leveling the tower in the end, and their match is complete. Tears are shed, an island is ruptured, and a big group hug takes place in the end as well, of course. But Teach, to literally everyone's surprise, acknowledges his defeat, and for being such a good sport, in exchange for his devil fruit powers, Suta gives Blackbeard Law's sword anyway. And what a stand-up lobster you truly are, my friend. Now, with that said and done, Suta now shows them his awesome power-up sequence, creating the Yami Yami no right arm and the Gura Gura no left leg. Oh boy, these look really rad. With the immense power of the Gura Gura no Mi, he can now create island-destroying earthquakes, and since he has the magnet powers and room available as well, he's just able to have incredible precise control over these powers as well. This basically converts the chaotic force of nature this power normally has into a concentrated, reality-shaking power instead. It means that he can now destroy islands, ships, and entire enemy armies from a distance and even fire it off in a controlled laser beam sort of way. And then using the Yami Yami no Mi's powers, he's obviously gaining some really rad, edgy Dark Lord abilities as well, but most importantly, he's now able to negate all Devil Fruit enemies if he makes contact with them. And let me tell you, this will make conquering the world way easier. If you thought that Blackbeard was broken, Suta over here is strapped and ready to rumble. But I mean, I don't know, man. I think you still look a little bit off center, dude. I guess we do need to find you a right leg ASAP. And so I guess he quickly hops on one leg over to his boat, waves goodbye to his new friends, and then sets sail for Dr. Vegapunk's home, Egghead Island. And while he's sailing there really slowly, he keeps studying his book, learning to use all three forms of Haki. After all, what else are time skips really good for? And with his armament, he can now turn his lobster shell and Robo armor into incredibly solid, already nearly unbreakable armor. Then with his observation Haki, he's now able to see incredibly far and even seems to be getting occasional glimpses of the future, but they're only flickering here and then basically at this point. But he's also gained way better spatial awareness. Move over, Isagi Yoichi. Suta is gonna take over Blue Lock once he's done with the East Blue and the One Piece world. And then of course, after demolishing all of his friends at board games, he finally taps into his true conqueror spirit as well. His kingly ambition starts to manifest, and he's able to enforce his will on everybody around him. In his current state, I'd say he's capable of knocking out over 75,000 men in a single glance. For context, that's 50% more than Luffy after the time skip. And with his Haki training in order now, it's time for Suta to go claim the One Piece. Nah, I'm just kidding. Dude just needs another leg first. So he took off to the Kamabaka Kingdom in order to find Mr. Bartholomew Kuma. Now Dragon did give him a call and said that they just got him back from the reverie, so he took off with blazing speeds to cross the Grand Line and get himself yet another devil fruit. Oh wow, that was really quick. I mean, and look, there's just Kuma sitting there. Maybe you should make this one really quick, Suta, and just tap him and run away. And while you're doing that, you should go ahead and craft yourself a paw right leg as well. Yeah, exactly like that. And with that, the Robo D Suta Robo suit has been been completed. So, is that it? Is that the ultimate One Piece character already? A strong haki using fisherman Lunarian with a bunch of devil fruits in a mecha suit? Meh, wrong. Not at all. I mean, sure, he's probably stronger than like, I don't know, 90% of the One Piece world at this point, but he can be so much more. I'm gonna go and handcraft the pinnacle of One Piece power, and to do that, we need way more devil fruits, weapons, and a secret weapon that will surely help him become the ultimate One Piece being. But looking at him right now, where would you even put more devil fruits? I mean, well, there's two body parts that still aren't covered yet. The head and the tail. That's two more powerful fruits right there that we can put on. Plus, he hasn't even used one himself. Not to mention, he could use a bunch of weapons. So why don't we grab a few of those as well? So grab your shovels and your ski masks, because it is our favorite time, grave robbing time. And we're actually heading off to an unnamed island in the New World first, and grabbing a massive legendary sword from a gravestone. Actually, never mind, it's not unnamed. I think this is, what is it, Sphinx Island? Yeah, Sphinx Island. Anyways, for some reason, after Marineford, Shanks just put Whitebeard's sword, or I guess technically it's actually a Naginata, if you want to be a little weapon nerd here. He put it just right there. So Captain Suta is just gonna yoink that bad boy out of the stone like an evil King Arthur, and boom, there it is. Because the only person who's guarding this island at this point is Marco, and he's probably not gonna be around. So, I mean, he can just grab it. And so you now got the Murakumogiri. It's a supreme great sword formerly wielded by Edward Newgate, the strongest man in the world. But if you only had two more, then you'd be the best three-sword stylist out there as well. Wait, that's actually a pretty good idea. Let's keep this Indiana Jones thing going and grave rob yet another sword. And wait, Suta, do you hear this? Is that sword calling your name? That's right. In this completely life-threatening and special moment, a massive plot point in the story, Robo di Suta hears Ace, Gold D. Rogers' sword, calling to him from some very unknown location. The pirate mecha lobster angel has awakened the voice of all things. Sick. That is convenient. If only more random things that made no sense just happened to you, then you'd be a real anime protagonist as well, and we wouldn't even need Luffy. Anyways, after cruising on his boat, he finds yet another supreme great sword, Ace, and with these two blades now, he's simply ascended to a whole different level. Apart from everything we've already talked about, he's now also on track to become the greatest swordsman in the One Piece world as well, once he unlocks even greater haki. Now, this wasn't his goal whatsoever, but hey, everyone needs a good side quest, I guess, and for Suta, it's just gonna be beating Zoro to his ultimate dream during just one of the filler episodes on our show, Lobster Piece. And so with these insanely powerful two swords in hand, Suta heads off to claim even more devil fruits, and both just happened to be in Wano. And so in true Iron Giant fashion, he puts his arms towards the sky and flies over to the land of the samurai. All right, okay, I guess I haven't really talked about that yet at all, but like, this dude is half Lunarian. He's been able to fly the entire time. It just hasn't really come up yet, but when it comes to invading the land of Wano, I'm pretty sure it's gonna come in handy. Now, when he lands there, he's greeted by a surprisingly chill gathering of samurai, a giant pink dragon, and a mythical beast ice dog type person. Now, the Scabbards, Momonosuke, and Yamato are all confronting him head on for once again invading their homeland. Damn, Sura, looks like you're actually gonna have to fight for once. What a change of pace. Here, watch out! It's a blast breath. Oh wait, you just have the Yami. Oh no, look out behind you. It's a samurai. Oh no, yeah. I guess using your room, you can just teleport them around everywhere you want. Oh, quickly now though, Yamato's right behind. Oh, and she's gone. I guess creating a massive earthquake and using the Pawpaw super kick to send her flying into the moon is pretty useful in retrospect. I don't know why I thought that would be a harder fight. You literally are a god at this point. This kind of rules. I mean, steal that dragon fruit quickly as well. And just like that, Suta now unlocks the pink dragon tail as well, a massive mechanical tail with a dragon head on the end, able to shoot massive blast breaths, and gives him the added bonus of igniting himself as well. I mean, you really do look like a Megazord at this point anyway, so nice job. Though I am sure that some of you are probably wondering what other fruit is on this island that I talked about earlier. I mean, he didn't take Yamato, potatoes, so what other super powerful fruit does he want here? Well, conveniently enough, the voice of all things pointed him to a random fruit stall in the center of town, and there was a super busted devil fruit that just happened to manifest right here. So he puts his ski mask on and robs a young man's peach stand and took the Soru Soru no Mi himself, you know, the Big Mom devil fruit. I mean, yeah, as far as we know, she did die under the island, so it only makes sense that it would pop up somewhere here as well. And then after flying back down to his boat, Suta creates the Soru Soru no helmet and unlocks the ultimate power of souls and friendship, I guess. But now, Robo di Suta can manipulate and strike fear into his enemies with his new soul powers, but far more importantly, he can infuse all of his mech suit parts with fragments of his own life force as well, thus turning each limb into a homie on top of everything else. And all of his broken devil fruit parts, Ace and the Murakomogiri, now all have also a will of their own. They can now act independently from him, retract to him using his magnet powers, and combine to form a bunch of just super broken, weird looking combo weapons as well. You want examples? I'll give you some examples. We have the Dragon Tail and the Gura Gura Leg forming the Dragon Quake Bomber, a weapon capable of blast breaths and breaking reality. Or we have the Ope Ope no Pawpaw Blaster. Using the Pawpaw's push powers, he can move his rooms and supersonic speed to manipulate the laws of reality itself. Really, this dude just basically can now do whatever he damn well pleases to. And you know what he does want more than anything else at this point? To get a third sword. You guessed correctly. Now, he's got to finish the whole trinity of supreme great swords, and so he's gonna go and decimate Cross Guild and steal nothing other than Yoru from Mihawk. And also, let's be real, at this point, he has no need for his boat. He's the Claw of God. Take to the skies, and using your new Dragon Flame powers, shoot through the heavens like a literal comet. It is time to fly, flame on! And so he very quickly arrives at the Cross Guild's headquarters and takes off his suit because he won't even need it for what he's about to do to Dracula Mihawk. He just stares the edgy vampire man down and then challenges him to a duel. Mihawk has no choice but to graciously accept, understanding that the lobster man here has quickly become a threat unlike any other. He can finally truly let loose and test his real powers against this man. But unfortunately, Suta has other plans because as the challenger, he decides the constraints of their duel. Now, Mihawk, logically, I guess, assumed it was gonna be a sword fight, but the Claw of God quickly makes his intentions very clear. He sits down and pulls out the bane of Mihawk's very existence. Blue, red, green, or yellow. Choose your color very wisely, Hawkeyes, but no matter what you choose, you will be very, very sorry. In his room, Suta is the god of board games. Drawing ones and twos, he releases all of his pieces, sliding them across the board with swift speed and ruthless precision. Mihawk struggles to keep his game up, but constantly his pieces are sent back to his base, and Suta just unleashes hockey-coded sorry moves the likes only Nika himself has seen before. This match was decided before they even sat down, and Robo di Suta has become the strongest swordsman in the world. Mihawk is left in shambles, crying at his bitter defeat. And Suta just turns and goes, "Was it your courage or ignorance that caused you to raise your swords against me? Because I told you that you'd be sorry." And then just walks out with Yoru still in his mouth. He has completed the ultimate three-sword style featuring 3 supreme great swords. And after that, it's now time to head to the moon. Huh? Wait, what? What? What kind of abrupt transition was that, you say? Well, I told you, becoming the world's strongest swordsman was just kind of a filler episode for Suta, because the next real episode is up and we are back to the real canon material, pretending that nothing happened. And when I say nothing happened, that means more devil fruits. After all, Vegapunk cannot copy Logia powers, meaning that he has to actually consume a Logia fruit for himself, and he wants the Goro Goro no Mi, aka Enel's powerful lightning fruit. But of course, the trip to space is quite a long one. I mean, the moon is quite far away, and it's actually perfectly timed for him to master advanced Haki techniques. Infusing his mech suit with advanced armament Haki makes him nearly invincible. His board game skills have become absolute top-notch thanks to his future sight, and his three-sword style shatters reality with his legendary advanced Conqueror imbuement as well. Let me tell you, at this point, Nika himself couldn't stop the Claw of God either. But now the time has come. Suta pilots his giant mecha robot upwards and flies straight into the moon, waving to Yamato, whom he launched up here earlier, and then he just destroys the entire thing, because why not, right? I mean, the universe will bend to his will, so he grabs an extra peach that he stole from that poor kid in Wano, and even though it's rotting, it will do the trick nonetheless. He takes his sword and slices up God Enel into fine cut pieces. He then reassembles him with his room and then destroys him with his Tails Blast Breath for good measure as well. But before that fries his system, he quickly uses the Paw to kick remove his pain as well, and then he shatters his sternum with a mighty earthquake stomp. Dude, what has gotten into you, man? Like, when did you become so brutal? Did winning all those board games suddenly tip you over the edge or something? What the heck? Where did that come from? Well, I guess it matters not, because by using his Yami Fist, he nullifies Enel's powers and finally kills him once and for all. And he uses his Power Claw to guide his Devil Fruit power into the rotting peach. He eats it up, and a force unlike anything else he has ever tasted before flows through him now. Suddenly, he has done it. He's got a lightning body, unable to be touched, and after claiming his Logia power, he's now become the ultimate One Piece pirate, but there is only one thing really left to do. Floats down to Marijua and stares down everyone. The Celestial Dragons, the Holy Knights, and the Gorosei, and Imu just sits in their chair knowing what fate awaits all of them. The mech suit flares up, showcasing the immense power of the Claw of Gods. Captain Robo the Suta has brought judgment to the entire Holy Land. The pieces of his armor all charge up their massive energy attack, channeling the power of all of his abilities together. Three-sword style with mastered advanced Haki, the strongest devil fruits of all time, and the sheer willpower of a lobster Lunarian on a mission from God. Thus, he destroys the Holy Land with his ultimate move, the Divine Punk Angel of Lightning's Earthquake of Darkness, Ashura's Departure Onigiri Shambles. Unfortunately, he accidentally also destroys the red line with that, and so his goal of claiming back his homeland as Lunarian has kind of backfired. But then, in a moment that would define anime history, Imu, the true king of the world, crawls out from within the rubble. They will not go down without a real fight. Having used up a ton of his power, Suta decided to settle things the old-fashioned way, so he floats down and their true battle begins. In one fell swoop, the board is placed down. Thimble versus Shu in the Monopoly game to end all Monopoly games. Park Place, the electric company, and Boardwalk are swiftly acquired by Imu. All seems lost at this point, and then Robo kicks it into real high gear. He passes go, and he passes go, and he passes go again, collecting $200 each time and unleashing his ultimate get out of jail free card. The properties, the world, they are all his. Imu has finally been vanquished, and your only mistake was probably not picking Catan. But here's the real question. How would Robo the Suta square up against some of my other wildest and most broken anime creations? Now, you probably don't know, but I actually have a second secret channel called Tanuki Tales. Yes, I do have a second channel. I create videos just like this for a bunch of characters, Naruto, Pokemon, and most importantly, Dragon Ball. So can Robo the Suta hold his own against the menace known as Majin Jaeger, the ultimate Dragon Ball character? Well, why don't you go and see what he's made of and let me know in the comments who you think will win. Otherwise, as always, thanks so much to all of our Patreons, and I will hopefully see you in this next one on the second channel. And if you enjoy it, let me know.